My daughter's husband turned my bedroom into his home gym. By the time they got home from work, I had everything they owned waiting in a U-Haul parked in my driveway. I should have seen it coming. But when your only child calls you sobbing at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night, you don't think about red flags. You think about how to help. Mom, I don't know what to do. Rebecca's voice cracked through the phone. The contractor just called. He found asbestos in the walls, everywhere. He says we can't stay here with the kids, not even one more night. I was already pulling on my robe, heading downstairs to make sure the guest room was ready. Honey, slow down. What about a hotel? Everything's booked. There's some medical conference in town. Mom, I know it's a lot to ask, but could we stay with you? Just for 2 weeks while they do the abatement? 2 weeks. It didn't sound like much. I'd been rattling around in this 4-bedroom house by myself for 3 years, ever since Robert passed. The guest room sat empty. The kids' old rooms sat empty. What was 2 weeks? Of course you can stay, I said. Bring the kids over right now. I'll make up the beds. Thank you, Mom. Tyler's already packing the car. We'll be there in an hour. I should have paid attention to that. Should have wondered why Tyler had already started packing before Rebecca even called me. But I was too busy pulling sheets from the linen closet. Too busy being useful, being needed. They arrived at midnight with more luggage than I'd have packed for a month-long trip. Tyler barely looked at me as he hauled suitcases up the stairs. My granddaughter, Emma, 8 years old, was already asleep in the car. Little Josh, 5, clung to Rebecca's neck, his eyes wide and frightened. Where should we put all this? Tyler asked, standing in the hallway with 3 suitcases. The guest room has a queen bed, I said, and the kids can take Rebecca's old room. There are twin beds in there. He looked at the guest room like I'd offered him a cardboard box. This is pretty small. What about that master bedroom? That's my room, I said, keeping my voice light. Right, sure. But the way he said it made my skin prickle. I made hot chocolate for the kids and helped Rebecca get them settled. By the time I finally got back to bed, it was past 2 in the morning. I lay there, listening to footsteps above me, doors opening and closing, Tyler's voice saying something I couldn't quite hear. 2 weeks, I told myself. You can do anything for 2 weeks. The first morning, I woke to find Tyler in my kitchen, dumping my cream and sugar down the sink. What are you doing? I asked, too shocked to be polite. Making room in your fridge, he said, like this was perfectly normal. We need space for our meal prep containers. Don't worry, I brought you some almond milk. Way better for you than dairy anyway. He gestured to a shelf he'd cleared in my refrigerator, now filled with identical plastic containers labeled with dates and macro counts. My butter, my eggs, my yogurt that I'd just bought on Saturday, all crammed into one corner. I've been drinking regular milk for 67 years, I said quietly. That's probably why your joints hurt. He wasn't even looking at me, just rearranging my refrigerator like it was his own. Rebecca mentioned you have arthritis. Dairy causes inflammation. Rebecca appeared in the doorway, already dressed for work in a sharp navy suit. Mom, thank you again for letting us stay. I know it's an adjustment. It's fine, I said, because that's what you say. That's what mothers say. Tyler made himself an egg white omelet using my pans, leaving them in the sink. I waited until he left the kitchen before I washed them. Old habits. That afternoon, while the kids were at school and Tyler was supposedly working in the guest room, I made my weekly pot roast. It was Tuesday. I always made pot roast on Tuesdays. Robert used to say he could set his watch by it. When Rebecca got home at 6, I had the table set for 5. The pot roast smelled like home, like every Tuesday for the past 40 years. Tyler came down the... Tell me what? I asked. Rebecca wouldn't meet my eyes. We're mostly plant-based now, Mom. For the environment. And Tyler's training for a triathlon. Since when? I'd just had lunch with Rebecca 3 weeks ago. She'd ordered a chicken sandwich. It's recent, she said. Tyler's been educating me about factory farming. It's really eye-opening. I looked at the pot roast I'd spent all afternoon making. At the table I'd set with my good dishes, the ones with the tiny roses around the rim that Rebecca used to trace with her finger when she was little. "Well," I said, "there's a salad too." Tyler was already in the kitchen, opening my cabinets. "Do you have quinoa? The kids need protein." I watched him pull out my pasta, my rice, my flour, examining each package like it might be poison. "I have peanut butter. Processed," he said, putting it back. "We'll have to go shopping." They left me sitting at the table with a pot roast that would feed 10 people and no one to eat it. I packed it up and took it to my neighbor Dorothy the next day. She'd just lost her husband too. She understood about cooking for ghosts. The Wi-Fi incident happened on day 5. I was trying to video chat with my sister in Oregon when the screen froze. Then the connection dropped entirely. I tried logging back in, but my password didn't work. Tyler was in the living room with his laptop. "Oh yeah, I changed the Wi-Fi password. The network was super slow. I need bandwidth for my calls." "What's the new password?" He barely looked up from his screen. "I'll text it to you later. I need it now. I'm talking to my sister." "Mom, she's probably busy. Can't you call her on the phone like a normal person?" "She's in Portland. I want to see her face." He sighed like I was the unreasonable one, like I was asking for something outrageous in my own home. He rattled off a string of numbers and letters so fast I had to ask him to repeat it twice. The new password was Tyler Strong, 2024. I stared at my phone screen, at the exclamation point, at my own Wi-Fi network that I'd been paying for since 2015, now locked behind my son-in-law's idea of a clever password. "Got it?" he asked, already turning back to his laptop. I got it. That weekend, Emma knocked over Robert's urn. It wasn't her fault. She was running through the living room, playing with Josh, and her elbow caught the table. The ceramic urn that had sat on that table for 3 years, tipped, rolled, shattered on the hardwood floor. For a moment, everything stopped. Emma's face went white. The ashes, Robert's ashes, scattered across the floor in a gray cloud. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Tyler came in, looked at the mess, looked at Emma. "It's fine, sweetie. It was just an old vase. It wasn't a vase." My voice didn't sound like my own. "What?" He was already getting the vacuum from the closet. "Don't." I stepped between him and Robert. "Don't you dare vacuum him up." He finally looked at me. Really looked at me. Oh shit. Was that my husband? I was on my knees now, my hands shaking, trying to gather the ashes, the pieces of the urn. His name was Robert. He built that table. He refinished it when Rebecca was in high school. "Mom." Rebecca was there now, kneeling beside me. "Mom, I'm so sorry. Emma didn't mean to." I know she didn't. I could feel tears on my face, but I couldn't stop them. "I know." Tyler stood there with the vacuum, looking uncomfortable. "I mean, it's not like he's actually in there, right? It's just ashes. The real guy is gone." Rebecca's face went pale. "Tyler, I'm just saying, getting upset over some ashes seems kind of—" "Get out," I said. "What?" "Get out of this room. Right now." He left. I heard him go upstairs, heard his footsteps heavy on the floor above me. Rebecca helped me gather every speck of ash, every shard of ceramic. We put it all in a plastic container from the kitchen. It wasn't the same. It would never be the same. But at least I had him. "I'll buy you a new urn," Rebecca said quietly. "Something beautiful." "Okay." Tyler didn't mean he's just not good with emotional stuff. I didn't answer. I was thinking about Robert, about how he used to dance with me in this living room on Saturday nights, how he knew exactly how I took my coffee, how he never, not once in 42 years of marriage, made me feel small. 2 weeks turned into 3. "The contractor says it's more extensive than they thought," Rebecca explained, not quite meeting my eyes. "Asbestos in the attic, too. Could be another month." "Another month." I smiled. I nodded. I said, "Of course. Stay as long as you need." But I was starting to notice things. The way Tyler had taken over the living room, his workout equipment scattered across the floor, the way he'd moved my sewing machine out of the sunroom to make space for his desk, the way he talked to me like I was slightly stupid. explaining things I'd known for decades. "Mom, you really shouldn't use fabric softener," he said, pulling my laundry out of the dryer. "It's full of chemicals. I ordered some wool dryer balls. Much healthier. I like the way fabric softener smells. That's literally synthetic fragrance. It's bad for your lungs." I was 67 years old. I'd been doing laundry since before he was born, but I didn't say that. I just smiled and said thank you and took my laundry back to my room. My room. The only space that was still mine. Until week 4. I came home from my doctor's appointment on a Thursday afternoon to find my bedroom door open. My bed was gone. The dresser Robert had built for our 25th anniversary was shoved against the wall, and in the center of my room, the room where I'd slept for 30 years, where I'd held Robert's hand while he died, was a weight bench. Tyler was doing bench presses, grunting with each rep. "What?" I said, my voice shaking. "Is this?" He sat up, wiping sweat from his face with my good towel. "Oh, hey. Yeah, I moved some stuff around. Rebecca said you barely use this room anyway." "I sleep here." "Right. But you sleep like 6 hours a night, max. The room's empty the rest of the time. I needed a home gym and the living room wasn't working. Too much traffic with the kids. Where's my bed?" "In the garage. Don't worry, I was super careful with it." "Your dresser too?" "Well, most of it. Some of the drawers were stuck, so I had to." I turned and walked out. Walked down the stairs, through the kitchen, out the back door to the garage. My bed was there, leaning against the wall. The mattress Robert and I had picked out together. The frame he'd assembled, all of it shoved in between paint cans and Christmas decorations. My dresser was there too. 3 of the drawers broken, my clothes spilling out onto the concrete floor. I stood there for a long time, looking at my life stacked up like garbage. Then I went back inside, climbed the stairs to the guest room where Rebecca and Tyler were staying, and knocked on the door. Tyler answered, still in his workout clothes. "What's up?" "I need to speak with Rebecca. She's on a call." "Can it wait?" "No." He shrugged, left the door open. I could hear Rebecca's voice from inside, professional and crisp. "Yes, I understand the timeline. We'll have it to you by Friday." I waited in the hallway, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. Rebecca appeared 5 minutes later. "Mom? Is everything okay? When were you going to tell me?" "Tell you what?" "That you're planning to stay. Permanently." Her face did something complicated. "What?" "No, we're not." "I heard you," I said. "Last Tuesday. On the phone with Tyler. You said, she's getting old. Maybe it's time she downsized to assisted living. This house is wasted on her." The color drained from Rebecca's face. "You were listening to my private conversation? In my own house? The house you want to take from me?" "Mom, that's not, we were just talking. Just discussing options." "Options for what? Putting me in a home so you can have my house?" Tyler appeared behind her. "Whoa, hold on. No one's putting anyone anywhere. We just think that maybe, this place is a lot for one person. All these stairs, the yard. You're not getting any younger. I'm 67. I'm not dead." "No one's saying you're dead," Rebecca said, her voice taking on that placating tone I'd been hearing more and more. "We're just worried about you. All alone in this big house. I wasn't alone until you decided I was." "Mom, get out." They both stared at me. "I want you out of my house." "Today?" Tyler laughed. Actually laughed. "Come on. You don't mean that." "I've never meant anything more in my life." "Mom, you're upset," Rebecca said. "Let's talk about this in the morning when everyone's calmer. There's nothing to talk about. I want you out. And where exactly are we supposed to go?" Tyler's voice was hard now. "You think we can just find a place that takes kids and allows month to month? In this market? That's not my problem." "It kind of is," he said. "Since you offered to let us stay, you can't just kick us out. We have rights. This is my house." "Actually," Tyler said, and something about the way he said it made my blood run cold, "I've been here more than 30 days. That makes me a legal tenant. You can't just throw me out without proper notice. I looked it up. He'd looked it up. He'd planned this. Rebecca put her hand on my arm. Mom, please, let's all just calm down. Tyler, that's not helping. Mom, we can talk about this. We can work something out. I pulled my arm away from her. From my daughter who I'd carried for 9 months, who I'd rocked through colic and nightmares and heartbreak, who I'd helped through college and wedding planning and the births of her own children. Get out of my house, I said again, or I'll call the police. Mom, I walked away. Down the stairs, out the front door, into my car. I drove to Dorothy's house and sat in her kitchen while she made tea and didn't ask questions. When I came home 3 hours later, they were still there. Tyler's car in my driveway, lights on in every room like they owned the place. I sat in my car and called my lawyer. Margaret, Bill said, his voice warm and familiar. He'd handled Robert's estate. What can I do for you? I need to evict someone. Okay. Commercial property or residential? My daughter and her husband. They're in my house and they won't leave. There was a pause. Tell me everything, I told him. About the 2 weeks that became a month. About my refrigerator and my Wi-Fi and Robert's ashes. About my bed in the garage and Tyler's weights in my bedroom. About assisted living and wasted space and tenants' rights. Bill listened. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Here's what we're going to do, he said. The next morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. I'd slept on Dorothy's couch. I hadn't wanted to go back to that house, to see my bed in the garage, to walk past my bedroom turned into Tyler's gym, but I went back, because Bill had explained exactly what I needed to do. Rebecca's car was already gone. She left for work by 6:30 most mornings. Tyler would be asleep for another hour at least. The kids didn't have school until 8. I let myself in quietly, went to the guest room, and knocked. Tyler appeared in sweatpants, looking annoyed. It's not even 6. I know. I need to talk to you. Now? Now. He sighed, pulled on a t-shirt. Fine. What? I handed him the envelope. What's this? Notice to vacate. You have 72 hours to remove yourself and all your belongings from my property. He opened it, skimmed the first few lines, then laughed. You're serious? You actually got a lawyer involved? I did. Over what? Us staying here? When you invited us? For 2 weeks. It's been 4. And you've made it very clear you don't plan to leave. So dramatic. He tossed the notice on the bed. Rebecca's going to be pissed. That's between you and Rebecca. She's your daughter. Which is why this hurts more than you can possibly understand. Something in my voice must have gotten through to him because his smirk faded. Look, I didn't mean we're not trying to take your house. Yes, you are. Maybe you didn't start out that way. Maybe it just seemed convenient, but that's what's happening. And I won't let it happen. You're being paranoid. Am I? Then why did you look up tenancy laws? Why did you tell me I couldn't kick you out? He didn't have an answer for that. 72 hours, I said again. I've already rented a U-Haul. It'll be delivered this morning. You rented a U-Haul? For us? So you have no excuse. Everything you own can be loaded up and taken to wherever you're going. We don't have anywhere to go. Then I suggest you start looking. I turned to leave. He caught my arm. You're really going to do this? To your own daughter? To your grandkids? I looked at his hand on my arm. At this man who dumped my cream down the sink and scattered my husband's ashes and taken over my home like it was his right. Take your hand off me. He did, stepping back. My daughter, I said quietly, is the one who suggested putting me in assisted living so she could have this house. My daughter is the one who let you break my furniture and take over my bedroom. My daughter made her choice. Now I'm making mine. I went downstairs and made coffee. Real coffee, with real cream. I sat at my kitchen table and watched the sun come up through the window Robert had installed in 1987. The U-Haul arrived at 8. Tyler came down the stairs looking rumpled and angry. You weren't kidding about the truck. I never kid. What if we're not out in 72 hours? Then I call the sheriff and have you removed. It's all in the notice. He stared at me like he was seeing me for the first time. "You're really doing this?" "I really am." He pulled out his phone, called Rebecca. I heard her voice, tinny and distant, heard Tyler's version of the story. "Your mom's freaking out. She got a lawyer. She rented a moving truck. She wants us out in 3 days." I couldn't hear what Rebecca said, but I heard Tyler's response. "I don't know. She's being crazy. Can you talk to her?" He held the phone out to me. I shook my head. "She won't talk to you," Tyler said into the phone. Then, after a pause, "Yeah, okay, see you tonight." He looked at me. "Rebecca's coming home early. She wants to work this out." "There's nothing to work out. She's your daughter." "You keep saying that like it changes anything." The kids came down for breakfast. Emma looked worried. Josh was oblivious, asking if he could have pancakes. I made them pancakes. I packed their lunches. I helped Emma find her library book. I did all the grandmother things I'd done before Tyler turned my bedroom into a gym. Then I sent them to school and started packing. Tyler's gym equipment went into boxes first. The weights, the bench, the mats, all of it. I hired 2 college kids from down the street to help me move my bed and dresser back into my room. By the time Rebecca got home at 2 in the afternoon, my bedroom looked like my bedroom again. She found me hanging up my clothes in the closet. "Mom," I turned. She looked exhausted. Her makeup smudged, still in yesterday's suit. "You didn't have to do this," she said. "Yes, I did. We can talk about this. We can figure something out." "Like what? Like me moving into a nursing home so you can have my house?" "That's not, I never said that. You said this house was wasted on me." She closed her eyes. I was frustrated. I was tired. Tyler and I had been fighting about money and I said something I didn't mean. "Did you mean it when you asked if you could stay for 2 weeks? "Yes." "And did you mean it when those 2 weeks became 4? She didn't answer. "Did you mean it when you let Tyler take over my house? When you let him dump my groceries and change my Wi-Fi and break my furniture?" I told him not to. "But he did it anyway. And you stayed. You brought your children into my home, and you let your husband treat me like I was an inconvenience in my own house." "Mom, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you are. But sorry doesn't fix my dresser. Sorry doesn't put Robert's ashes back in the urn. Sorry doesn't give me back the month you took from me. What do you want me to do?" "I want you to leave. I want you to pack up your family and find your own home and leave me alone." "You don't mean that." "I mean every word." She was crying now, mascara running down her face. "My daughter, my baby." "I'll do better," she said. "I'll make Tyler apologize. We'll help you fix the dresser. We'll replace the urn. We'll pay for groceries, whatever you want. I want my house back. I want my life back. This is your life. We're your life. Me and the kids. You were my life. And then you tried to take the rest of it from me. I made a mistake. You made a choice. And now I'm making mine." She left the room. I heard her on the phone, voice low and urgent. Heard Tyler's footsteps on the stairs. Heard them arguing in the guest room. I kept unpacking. Kept putting my life back where it belonged. By Friday afternoon, the U-Haul was loaded. Tyler did most of the work, his face red and sweaty, not looking at me. Rebecca helped, moving in silence. The kids were confused, asking why they were leaving, asking if Grandma was mad at them. "Grandma's not mad at you," I told them. "Grandma loves you very much." "Then why can't we stay?" Emma asked. "Because your father turned my bedroom into his gym. Because your mother thought my house was wasted on me. Because somewhere along the way, they forgot that kindness has limits." But I didn't say any of that. I just hugged her and told her we'd have a sleepover soon. Just her and me and Josh, without Tyler. They left at 4 o'clock on Friday. The U-Haul pulled out of my driveway, followed by Tyler's car. Rebecca was driving. She didn't look at me as they left. I stood on my front porch and watched them go. Then I went inside, into my house, my quiet house. I walked through every room. The living room with Robert's woodworking scattered on the floor, the kitchen with my cream back in the refrigerator, the bedroom with my bed in its proper place. I sat down on that bed and cried. For Rebecca, for the daughter I thought I knew, for the grandmother I wanted to be, for the space between what I'd hoped for and what had actually happened. But I didn't regret it. Not for a second. The next week, I changed my will. Bill helped me do it properly. The house would go to a trust, to be sold after my death. The proceeds would be split equally between Emma and Josh's college funds. Rebecca would be executor, but she wouldn't inherit the house. I signed the papers without hesitation. Rebecca called twice in those first few days. I didn't answer. Tyler called once, angry, telling me I was a selfish old woman who'd ruined her own daughter's life. I blocked his number. 3 weeks later, Rebecca showed up at my door on a Sunday morning. Alone. "Can we talk?" she asked. I let her in. Made coffee. We sat at the kitchen table. The same table where she'd told me about Tyler's plant-based diet, where I'd watched them eat their quinoa while my pot roast went to waste. "I left him," she said. I didn't say anything. It took me a while to see it. What he was doing. What I'd let him do. To you. To myself. She was crying again. "Mom, I'm so sorry. For all of it. For letting him treat you that way. For treating you that way." "Okay. Is that all? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Rebecca? That it's fine? That we can just forget it happened?" "No. I know we can't forget it. I want to try. To fix this. To be better." I looked at my daughter. At the dark circles under her eyes, the wrinkle between her brows that hadn't been there a month ago. "Where are you staying?" "An apartment in Henderson. 2 bedrooms. It's small, but it's ours. The kids like it. Emma has her own room for the first time ever. And Tyler? Getting served with divorce papers next week." I sipped my coffee. Thought about all the times I'd bitten my tongue over the years. Every time Tyler had been dismissive or condescending. Every time Rebecca had made excuses for him. "I need you to understand something," I said finally. "I will always be your mother. I will always love you. But I won't let you treat me like I'm disposable, like I'm just taking up space until you're ready to put me somewhere." "I know. Do you? Because you told him my house was wasted on me. You stood by while he took it over. You didn't stop him from breaking my furniture or scattering your father's ashes or turning my bedroom into his personal gym. I know. And I hate myself for it. I don't want you to hate yourself. I want you to do better." She nodded, wiping her eyes. "The kids can come over," I said. "Anytime." I meant what I said about sleepovers. But you and we need time. We need to rebuild. How long? I don't know. As long as it takes for me to trust that you won't do this again. I won't. "Mom, I swear." "Don't swear. Just show me." She left an hour later. I watched her drive away, wondering if we'd ever get back what we'd had, wondering if I even wanted that, or if I wanted something new, something with better boundaries. That night, I sat in my bedroom. My bed was made with the quilt Robert's mother had given us for our wedding. My dresser had been repaired, good as new. My clothes hung in my closet. My space, my room, my house. I'd lost a month. I'd lost my daughter, at least for now. I'd lost the dream of being the grandmother who always said yes, who always made things easy. But I'd found something too. Found the line I wouldn't cross. Found my voice saying no. Found out that I could be 67 years old and still surprise myself. I pulled out the letter I'd been writing, the one I'd started the night Tyler moved into my bedroom. It was addressed to Rebecca, but I knew now that I'd never send it. It said all the things I'd been too afraid to say out loud. I read it once more, then tore it up. I didn't need to explain myself. Didn't need to justify or defend or make anyone understand. I'd done what needed to be done. I'd protected my home, my peace, myself. And if that made me selfish, if that made me difficult, if that made me the kind of mother who chose herself over keeping the peace, well, maybe I'd been keeping the peace for too long anyway. Maybe it was time to choose myself. I turned off the light and settled into my bed, in my room, in my house. And for the first time in a month, I slept through the night.